人生如一场旅行，在这漫漫旅程中邂逅不同的风景。他们与中国的邂逅亦是如此。
我第一次来北京是2015年的时候，
那时候很年轻，21岁。
他们跋山涉水来到中国，在这里开启一段奇妙的旅行。
太好吃了！
哦哇，你可以讲中文吗？风景区啊，名胜古迹啊，特别美。
他们寻路中国，进入中国，
这样的一个经历是非常有价值的，
特别想改变西方人眼里的这个中国。
每一段旅程都是一次宝贵的体验，每一次遇见都是一份珍贵的礼物。今天在这里，他们讲述着人生的平凡与传奇。
My name is Shahidul Islam. I'm from Bangladesh. Currently, I'm doing my PhD at清华University, majoring in environmental science and engineering. Prior to this, I studied my bachelor also in China, is at China Three Gorges University, majoring in water resource engineering. And then I studied my master's in Shanghai at Tongji University, also in environment. So I mainly focus on the environmental engineering, especially water pollution control, urban drainage system maintenance.
So what's your first impression about China?
Well, when first I arrived in China back in 2016, I thought that China is rich in history, culture, because it has the 5,000 years written history on the oracle bones and in other medium. But after being here, I find that it's extremely technologically advanced, and the social structure is quite efficient in terms of deal with the daily necessities and everything. So I find it very interesting after being in China.
How did it differ from your childhood impression of China?
Well, before coming to China, I didn't have much information about China because maybe I didn't have some access to know about China. In my time, we didn't have much institute who teach about China or organization. I think now we have some like Confucius Institute and others. But that time I only know in China the martial arts, Kung Fu is really good, and also I heard some story to my grandfather about Chinese traditional medicine. So I didn't have much information, but I knew that China is technologically advanced, especially in electronics. But after being in China, I find that it's another world which has culturally rich and also have many industries to explore the knowledge and everything.
And what challenge did you face to adapting the life and culture in China? Is it very different from Bangladesh?
I think the culture is quite different than Bangladesh. First of all, the first challenge was food. The cooking style in my country is very different than China. I think in China we sometimes the cooking process is not very long, but in our eyes is like semi-cook or something or half boil something. But in Bangladesh I think we cook more. So after being in China, I find it's a challenge. But later I found that it has a lot of advantage as well, like the health. I think most of the Chinese food are very healthy, especially the food I eat in my canteen. And so the earlier I really found a lot of challenge eating Chinese food, and of course the language, because the first 1 year it was really challenging to buy things or to deal with the local people, those who really don't speak English.
So why you choose to go to China?
So from my childhood I was quite good in handling or repairing electronic things. So one day the microwave of our house was broken, and my grandmother asked me to find a technician, and I said I solved it by myself. I repaired by myself, and then she told me, why not you go to China and learn it more? So I think that was the first time I thought about China, and then generally I studied about the Chinese universities and some of the Chinese research institute and find it more and more interesting.
So you start your undergraduate
Yeah, I started my undergraduate
in where?
in Yichang City
Yichang.
at China Three Gorges University. Yeah.
What major did you?
Water resource engineering.
Water source.
Yeah, and you might know that China Three Gorges hydroelectric power is very close to that university. So during my bachelor, we had a lot of chances to go to the different kind of hydropower station to know more about hydroelectric.
Now you are studying environmental technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the PhD degree, right? How did you like it?
I really had the passion to study about environment and water because in my country we have too much water. So there is saying water is everywhere but no drop of water to drink. So we have around 700 rivers, but all the rivers have a lot of problems, like sometimes the water is muddy water, sometimes the river erosion, and sometimes pollution. So I find it is really meaningful that being an expert in water resource or environment, I can really serve my nation. So that was the first things that I liked this major. After being in China, I got introduced with many technologies. Like in China, I think back in 30 or 40 years, China also faced a lot of problems, environmental challenges, especially the flood and also the river pollution. And then it gradually induced many technologies. So I think we can also get some lesson from this experience. So that's why I really have very good passion for this measure.
You mentioned that you are interested in food, and what's your favorite Chinese food?
Well, I have many favorite Chinese food, but to be very specific, I think I like dumplings. That's what I like most. During my undergraduate, I used to eat in every week, especially from the Lanzhou. And also the hot pot. So there in China there are many kinds of hot pots. The one with a lot of spices, I like that. And also I like Beijing duck. It's also I think delicious. I think I like many Chinese food. Like it's just depend on the time and my mood, which one I will eat today.
You travel a lot in China?
Yeah, I travel most of the big cities and many small counties in China.
And how do you like Beijing?
I think Beijing has a lot of opportunity because here many headquarters of the companies and many international organizations also have based in Beijing. But I think I like most Shanghai because Shanghai is very lively and a lot of young people they live there and many national and international community they are working there, so I find it really interesting.
Okay, you made a lot of friends in China, and then how have they influenced you, and what cultural knowledge you have granted from them?
If I want to be grateful to my Chinese friend for influencing me, first things I think they made me productive. I find most of my friends they are really hardworking, so gradually after being here I also adopt that culture, means being in discipline and do the work on time. And secondly, I also have friends who taught me a lot of things, like when we go to travel they teach me the history of some places, and also we talk about culture, about sometimes the geopolitics, sometimes about the business. So I think they have the great influence on my growth and also on my daily life.
As a foreigner student, you have lived in China for many years. What kind of advice you would like to give to the students who are coming to China?
I also receive many messages and emails about people questioning me about China, like how the life is here before coming here, like if some of them are interested to come to China. So for the advice I will give them, first, that don't be afraid of the language and the difference. So that's the first thing, because I see it as an opportunity. If you speak Chinese language, many doors will open for you, and you will also have an opportunity to learn a lot of things, especially the technical things. And secondly, I think China has become a fact for the world, because in many indicators, if you see especially the research, most of the Chinese institutes are dominating. They are doing very world-class research in many institutes. So if you want to come here, if you have the intention to really grow your career, so I think that don't be afraid of the difference and the language. It's really an opportunity and not the things to be afraid of.
You studied in both Tongji University and Tsinghua University. What's the difference between these two colleges?
Well, I think that's a critical question for me, but I will say in the level of technical knowledge exploration, in the level of engineering practice, they have very similar level. What's the difference I see between Tongji and Tsinghua? Tsinghua is more global. It has a more global expert, and I think it has that open-mindedness to the global door. Where Tongji is also very excellent institute, but I think it's focused more on the domestic development. Yeah. So I find Tsinghua. So when I go to other country and other institute, they always talk about Tsinghua and also the culture and also the relationship, collaboration and everything. But the difference is like both universities are technically very sound, very excellent in the academic excellence, but Tsinghua is like more global.
Compared with Beijing and Shanghai, what kind of a city leave you most positive impression?
Compared to Beijing and Shanghai, of course, I will score Shanghai much more than Beijing because I find in Shanghai economic growth and the opportunity for international people, it's much more. But of course, Beijing has a different dimension because it has a lot of headquarters here. So you will also have the opportunity to meet very important persons, those who make decisions. Yeah. So in terms of influence of the city, I think both city has its very unique feature. But if we talk about the life of young people and being engaged in society, I think Shanghai get the better score.
Yeah, final question is, could you share what you learned from the experience in China and reflects your contribution to your own nation?
I think the first things I learned is my technical knowledge. Now I have become expert in water resource, and I think if I go back home, at least I can bring some solution, some idea, and I can work with the other people, those who are experienced in Bangladesh, to handle the pollution and the water related problems. And second things, what I learned to be disciplined, what I learned to be hardworking, and also the multicultural environment that I got in touch. That's also happened in China, especially in Tsinghua. So I think that network will also help me to, like, if I really don't understand something, I have now many networks to ask. I am having this problem and how can I solve this issue? Yeah. So I think now I have something to bring back home and contribute to the society, especially improve the environment.
And do you want to share more interesting story in Beijing?
After being in Beijing, I also met many of my friends, and one of my friends who I met in 2017. So he really told me a lot of story about Beijing, and I first came to Beijing in 2017. Then he took me some places like the Great Wall and the Fragrance Mountains and some other places. I think Beijing is a great city with very nice people, and I like the food here. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.